This is the plaintiff, Alice Pompey Kufta. She says she and the defendant had a casual friendship for 17 years, and if she had to do it all over again, she would have never lent him money. The guy won't pay her back, tried to run her over in his truck, and she needs the judge big time. She's suing for $1,818.32, the amount she's owed. This is the defendant, Kenneth Noble. He says the plaintiff gave him the money to pay his taxes, and in exchange, he was going to paint her house and take down a fence. Then the town started hassling her about permits or something. She changed her mind and is now demanding he pay her cold, hard cash. Well, that wasn't their deal, and he thinks the judge will agree. He's accused of letting a dear friend down.
Okay, Alice Pompey Kufta?
Yes.
You are suing Kenneth Noble, your former friend, I guess, for $1,818.32, the amount of a loan that you made to him plus interest, because he has failed to repay it over the course of the last 3 years. Tell me what happened.
Well, we have been casual friends for 17 years, and he had come to me and told me how he didn't have the money to pay his taxes, which were due the very next day.
What kind of, his income tax?
His property taxes
tax.
on both his house and his vehicles.
Okay, and what do you do for a living?
I'm a painting contractor, Your Honor.
Okay, and so what happens when he tells you this?
I felt bad for him. I felt very bad for him, and because I cared, I told him I would loan him the money. And I made out a check to him to
Okay.
take to my bank so he could cash it, and then
Do you have that check?
I was supposed to have it. I have a copy of the part that was in my checkbook, but at home
me
I
see
do have the actual check that he did endorse, and it was clear.
Can I have the actual check then? You have it?
I don't have it with me, but I can get it to you. I'm sorry, I just,
When did you think, what, am I going to go to your house and go see it? I mean, this is the trial. This is the part, folks, where I need the evidence. Why would you, all right. So this is a carbon, and there's nothing written on the memo line. That's really what I was interested in seeing. You don't deny that she actually wrote a check.
Absolutely.
All right. And in the memo line, you didn't write loan to be repaid or any other details.
no, I trusted him as a friend. I had known him for 17 years. I was helping
Why
him
don't you just
out.
take advantage of the memo line, which is what it's there for, and write down whatever your
Yes,
understanding
no.
is whenever you pay? Okay.
You're
And so
right.
when you trusted him as a friend, what did you trust him as a friend to do? He was going to pay you back how and when?
He was going to pay me back when he got a settlement, the settlement on his car, which had been damaged.
All right. Now, you have a very different story about this, correct?
Absolutely.
You tell me your story.
I can fix about anything, and she was having some issues at the time with the town concerning her property. She says, well, I'll tell you what, if you want, and you want to paint my house and install some sections of fence that I'm going to purchase, I have the paint, then I will give you this money for your taxes, and you do that between jobs. Well, at the time, I didn't have too many jobs, and I said, well, that would be really nice of you.
So what were you supposed to do in return for this money? You were supposed to paint her house and put up a fence?
Right.
Okay. She was
But-
going to supply the materials.
Yes.
Okay.
I have pictures of what I was going
Let
to
me see.
do. These depict both the work that she wanted me to do in exchange for the money, and also show her attempt at trying to do it herself.
Okay. What's the attempt at trying to do herself? This dark paint or this light?
The dark.
The dark. Oh, this is the fence? Okay, and the city didn't like this.
Well, the neighbors certainly didn't.
I bet they didn't. So was the city giving her a hard time about the fence?
She told me the reason that she was changing our agreement,
Okay.
because as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't a loan, it was a prepayment to do this work.
Uh-huh.
which I had gone back several times after she changed her mind and said, look, why don't you just let me do this? You'll feel good, your neighbors will feel good, the town will be happy, and I can get this burden off from hanging over my head.
And so you'll feel good too?
Yeah.
Because you felt guilty that you didn't do anything in return for the money?
Of course. And I was told that she wasn't going to do it because Burlington didn't have a blight ordinance, and they couldn't force her to do it.
So at the time when she makes the agreement with you, do you think she was under the impression that they were going to force her to do it?
Probably.
Then you think that she just found out that they couldn't force her to do it, and then she would rather have the cash?
Yes, she's quite fond of cash.
She's quite fond of cash. All right, now, how many times did you try to do the work?
I went several times in 2007. 2008, I went back a couple of times, and she said, nope, you owe me the money. Now, I live in a lake community, and I have close neighbors, and she came over and she was yelling at the top of her lungs about this situation.
Okay, then what happened?
I had to call the Burlington police because she was in the back of my pickup truck in a death grip and wouldn't let me back out of the driveway.
She had a death grip on your truck?
Yes.
Okay.
The lady police officer came out and told her she had to leave.
And what happened?
She left.
So can she get the money back if she made a deal that all she would get is a paint job?
No.
Why?
It's a moral issue.
Is it a moral issue or a legal issue?
Legal issue. The terms of the contract are changing.
Yeah, but she's saying, look, I changed my mind. I don't want my house painted. I gave you money. I want my money back.
But there's no meeting of the minds, right? They had an oral contract?
Well, they did have a meeting of the minds. He would paint her house, and now she doesn't want her house painted.
Changing it.
Yeah.
She's changing
Can she
it.
change it?
No.
Okay, we will find out going inside the courtroom.
Now, are either one of you, are you both moral support or are you witnesses?
I'm moral support, Your Honor.
Moral support. And you are a witness? Tell me. Talk to me. What are you a witness to?
Well, I wasn't a witness to the actual agreement that they had talked about. But within a week, Alice is my friend. That's her son, Steve. He's also a friend of mine. And she had told me that the agreement, and I can tell you that I told her then, I said, this is a wonderful thing that you did, because he was struggling. She needed some work done. The town, problems. I thought it was a wonderful thing. And then,
So she told you that she had paid it in return for the work?
yes.
Okay.
And then, I don't know what happened, but a while later, we were talking and she decided that she didn't want the work done anymore. She wanted the money. And I told her then, I said, that wasn't the agreement and he doesn't have money.
In your complaint, you say the defendant is an unlicensed contractor, which I was unaware of at the time, and he had problems with his ankles, so he couldn't go up on ladders. And I also heard he didn't do good work. Did you strike a deal with him that you would pay it and he would do the work, and then you changed your mind because you heard he didn't do good work? Because that's what not only it sounds like when I read your complaint, that's what he said when he filed his answer. That's what a friend of, who is this gentleman to you? Does he have any reason to lie against you the way he's doing right now? Is he lying? He says that you had told him that was your original agreement, just like the defendant says it was, and that you then later changed your mind and tried to make it something different, which is a pure payback.
No, we only had a casual conversation the day that I loaned him the money, that I made out the
It's
check
not.
to him.
Look, it's either I'm going to loan you this money and you have to pay me back the money, or it's I'm going to loan you this money and you're going to do work in exchange for the money. Those are two very different animals. And there's no it was something. We just had a light conversation. You can't do that. You can't minimize it because you change your mind because you don't want him to do it. Either because A, you hear he doesn't do good work, or B, you find out the city can't force you to clean up your act. I don't know which it is, but whatever it is, a deal's a deal is a deal. If we have a deal that I'm going to pay you back by painting your house, then you've got to let me paint your house to pay you back. You can't change it. My verdict in this case is for the defendant.
Well, you can't change the deal after it's been made, and so for that reason, the plaintiff has lost this case in the People's Court. If you just step up, what's your reaction to the judge's verdict?
Very disappointing. That was not the case.
Not what you expected to happen in
No,
court,
that's
right?
right.
But now that that's the decision, are you willing to consider allowing him to do the work to pay off what you loaned him? You know,
Yeah, I guess that would be,
yeah, he still owes you a certain
Solution.
amount of work, right? And
Yes.
you're open to that solution?
yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, right around the corner there, and documents are waiting for you. Let's see what he has to say about this. All right, come on in here. You heard the judge's ruling. It's in your favor. What's your feeling on this?
Well, I always maintained I was willing to keep the original agreement.
You intend to pay her back every cent with your labor?
With the work, yes.
All right, Harvey?
Okay, so this is not necessarily an unhappy ending because if the plaintiff decides within a reasonable period of time that she wants her house painted, the defendant is going to have to paint her house.